I would like to start by acknowledging that we are meeting today on the traditional lands of the Atikameksheng and Anishinaabe, and the large area we consider Greater Sudbury also exists within and adjacent to the territorial lands of the Wahnapitae First Nation and the Sagamok and Anishinaabe. We honor, recognize, and respect these Indigenous peoples as the traditional stewards of this land which we share today. Miigwech. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to NORCAT's Underground Center. This is the one-stop shop for all that is mine skills training and mining innovation. My name is Jason Buba, and I'm the Chief Operating Officer at NORCAT, and it's great to see so many leaders from government, industry, and the mining community gathered here today. It's a pleasure to host Minister Lecce here today. Alongside Minister Lecce, it's great to welcome Michelle Toomey, Principal Consultant at Landlord Resources Canada, Danielle Spethman, Secretary at Ontario Prospectors Association, Nadia Mikachuk, CEO and President of Merarco, and David Smith, Parliamentary Assistant to the Minister of Energy and Mines. Mining has always been a cornerstone of Ontario's economy, and nowhere is that more evident than right here in Northern Ontario. And the work that's happening across this region continues to drive innovation, create opportunity, and support good-paying jobs in communities across the province. And at a time when global demand for critical minerals continues to grow, Ontario is uniquely positioned to lead the way. Lead with talent, expertise, and the natural resources that we have here. The province has an incredible opportunity to strengthen its role as a trusted and responsible supplier to the world. Today's gathering reflects the importance of continued collaboration between government and industry to keep that momentum going and to ensure Ontario's mining sector remains strong and competitive for years to come. So thank you all for being here today. And now it is my pleasure to welcome to the podium Ontario's Minister of Energy and Mines, the Honourable Stephen Lecce.
Okay. Thank you so much. That was a brilliant introduction. Thank you, Jason. Thank you to the team. This man has energy this afternoon. Thank you to the team at NORCAT. I want to just first off give a shout out to the workers and to those that are working and training to be part of the next generation of machinists, of technology operators, of miners. And some of those folks are behind us today. Some of them will finish up their course in the next day or two. And I want to just salute them. Hard work, 5-6 week program, in the trenches, working hard, commit to the cause, helping to extract some of the most ethical resources on earth. So on behalf of your government, just well done. You are the future. We need you. And there are many, many more minds of the future that will require talent, young generational talent to do the work. And so this is the time. This is where the energy is in the mining sector as the world turns to us. I want to also just give a shout out to David Smith, the parliamentary assistant. This man drove from Scarborough to be here this afternoon. He is deeply committed to the North. We may be from the GTA, but we know where the action's at, and it's in Northern Ontario. And we came here with a message of hope. And to all my friends and colleagues, the stakeholders who are with us, just thank you all. I know you make a difference. Look, we just had the most successful PDAC conference in Ontario's history. We emerged after reforming our permit timelines. We went from the second slowest in the OECD when it came to the way we permit mine to the fastest in the G7. We went from the 15th on earth from attracting mining investment in 1 year of reform and of commitment and collaboration. We've emerged as the second best jurisdiction on earth for mining investment. And for the first time ever, we are now #1 in Canada, eclipsing Saskatchewan. That is not accidental. It is an intentional policy of your government and our Premier to double down on Canada, to build more at home, to extract more at home, to process more at home, and to export more to the world. We do not need to rely on anyone else but ourselves. We have the intellectual talent. We've got the best workforce, the most productive people. We've got the most ethical resources. We've got a regulatory system that's getting to, yes, governments, First Nations, communities working together, unified by a common threat against our country and our sovereignty. And that's what gives me hope today. On the precipice of unprecedented change in the world, something good is happening in our country. I think we're coming together. I think we're seeing the light, and we're actually moving at scale and at speed. And that's what the moment requires. And so it's not surprising that in 2024, when it came to mineral exploration, Ontario led the way, led the country by a large margin, over $1 billion of investment delivered. But we recognize, look, we've got some of the most prolific, abundant minerals and mines in the world. And we're proud of that. We're proud of this sector. And I want you to hear that your government is proud of the work you do and the responsibility that you undertake to protect the environment, labor standards, human rights, First Nations rights. We are the gold standard in the world. And I often remind the audience, the world is binary. There's two choices for minerals. You could either turn to the most reliable energy, democratic friend and partner on earth, here in Ontario, or you can continue sourcing from the abusive practices from the mines owned of China. And I can't imagine a Canadian today, especially in this moment, where we're up against so many attacks on the country, tariffs, disrupted supply chains, where we don't want to double down on Canada. And so with all the mines we've got to be thinking about tomorrow. We've got to be planning ahead. The Ontario Junior Exploration Program has been at the heart of discovery, about sort of reimagining what is possible by government providing that upfront investment to really catalyze private sector investment in the north. And this program, we've launched 6 intakes of it. Every time we've done it, every time we've invested in dozens and dozens of mines of the future, we've delivered over a 2-to-1 return on investment, where the private sector, where companies are putting in, roughly 2 to 2.5 times that of what the government invests. That's a good return on your investment as a taxpayer. It's a demonstration this program works, because fundamentally we need to identify the next mine of critical minerals, rare earths, whatever it may be, that help support our prosperity and our self-reliance. And so part of today's announcement is the recognition that Ontario needs to plan ahead. We need to build for the future. We need more mines for the next 50 years of Ontario's sector. And so we're here today, part of a broader critical minerals race where we're stepping up, we're moving with speed, but we also recognize that 74,000 jobs today depend on our ability to keep this sector growing strong. And that's why we are supporting today 68 projects, 68 mines of the future that are going to get funding from your government to help identify those plays that are going to put us on the map and keep people employed in our province for another generation of workers. A $10 million investment will yield over a $20 million return. So far, 2-to-1 for every dollar we've invested in this program. And I believe with an $18 million economic output, this is what should give the people of Sudbury and Northern Ontario a message or a sense of hope in a very fractured world. Your government is standing strong and standing up for our resources, for our workers, and for Northern Ontario's economy. And that's what I came here today to do. Planes, trains, automobiles, the weather couldn't throw anything at us. We were coming with a message and with funding and with a sense of optimism for the future. And that's why we're here. And look, I will tell you, for anyone that was at PDAC, you felt that energy. I mean, we felt like for the first time in a long time, the world is recognizing we are their reliable partner. Because yes, we're investing in the next generation of mines. We're reducing permits for the existing mines. And we're investing in processing so we end the ripping and shipping of our resources abroad. That's what leadership's about. And it's about standing by the people who do the work. And so I'm grateful to be here, to NORCAT, for supporting thousands of women and men through this particular training facility that have really helped inspire their minds and build confidence that we can do big things in this country. And there are upwards of just shy of 70 mines, 70 potential future mines that may get unlocked because today we stood together to make it happen. So I'm very honored and grateful for the partnership, because it all begins with exploration. Fundamentally, with the prospectors in the field, with companies willing to take risk, and a government that believes in our resources and in a permitting regime that gets to yes. So I just want to thank you for this wonderful opportunity to join you. It's always cool to be in a mine or a trading facility like this, and it's particularly meaningful to be with some of the workers, some of the men and women that are going to be entering the workforce in the days ahead. This organization has a high success rate of employment. Our economy, when it comes to resources, is growing. We need tens of thousands of additional women and men. To the young people listening, to anyone in high school or college or thinking about the next opportunity for them, if they want a job of the future, a job for life, a high-wage job with benefits and pensions and opportunity, you should consider entering our energy and our mining industry. From nuclear to minerals, this is where the action is. This is where Canada's future is. And so I really implore them to really consider it. To the educators out there, think about the future of keeping your kids in the North and the communities they were raised. So with that, I want to thank you for this awesome opportunity, and I want to turn it over to Michelle Tomey from Landor Resources to give you a bit of a real-life case study of how these investments are making a difference. Thank you all, and congratulations to all the recipients today, the 68. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Minister Lecce, for the introduction, and in fact, thank you very much. It's a real privilege to speak at this important event, which signals the Ontario government's continued commitment to the discovery of mineral resources within the province. There are many advantages to the OJEP program, but I would like to speak to one point specifically. The areas which junior companies and prospectors are exploring. In Landor's case, it's junior lake property in northwestern Ontario, are frequently remote. The communities in these areas rely heavily on the natural resource sector for economic development, which, in good times, everyone benefits. Mineral exploration is high risk and highly sensitive to external pressures such as market volatility. When investment dollars dry up, so too can a company's capacity to explore. When mineral exploration winds down, economic development and employment opportunities disappear. This isn't just felt on an organizational level, however. We all have to put food on the table and support our families. The impact of non-action is huge, but the impact of action is larger. Government initiatives such as the OJEP program provide the financial stability absolutely essential to stimulate continued exploration for minerals, including critical minerals like nickel and platinum group elements. In Landor's case, it can mean all the difference as we explore Junior Lake for gold and critical minerals. Our property stretches 45 kilometers, roughly the east-west length of Toronto. That's a lot of ground to cover. OJEP not only produces an immediate economic stimulus in the mineral exploration sector, but also adds to Canada's drive to build a stronger and more self-reliant economy. The stakes are high, especially in these unprecedented political and economic times. We as Ontarians need to be resilient. We can do it. We must do it. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Danielle Spethman, and I'm the Secretary of the Ontario Prospectors Association. Thank you, Minister Lecce, for your commitment to prospecting and early-stage exploration. On behalf of the Prospectors Association and our members, we are grateful for today's announcement. It represents decisive action to support the full mineral development cycle in Ontario. Every mine begins with someone willing to take a chance on an idea in a remote place with uncertain odds. Every discovery starts with prospectors and exploration companies taking on the highest risks in the mining cycle. Before there is a resource, before there's a mine, before there's a return. Early stage exploration is high risk and offers no guarantees, but without it, the mines of tomorrow are never found. Our members carry that risk every day. More than 75% continue to face challenges accessing consistent exploration capital. Programs like OGIP don't eliminate that risk, but they certainly make it worth taking. They keep Ontario's prospectors in the field and Ontario's discovery pipeline moving. When public investment meets private courage, the results follow. Conservative estimates show for every $2.50 invested by in private funding, conservative estimates show that every time the government invests $1 in exploration, $2.50 is mobilized. That is risk-reward equation working as it should. But we must be clear about what comes next. Early stage financing is only the first hurdle. After initial exploration, many of the companies face a financing cliff, a $20 to $30 million gap to advance projects through permitting, technical evaluation, and then development. This amount of money is too large for most investors and way too risky for traditional lenders. Programs like OGIP are essential, but they must be part of the broader connected strategy, one that carries projects from discovery through to production. Regulatory modernization is a critical part of that effort. Remove the friction, close the gaps, and let the risk takers do what they do best. Ontario stands at a pivotal moment. Global demand for responsibly sourced metals and critical minerals is accelerating, and this investment signals that Ontario is ready to lead. We thank the Minister and the Government of Ontario, and we look forward to building on this momentum together. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Ani Boujou Menagejab. I'm Dr. Nadia Mikachuk, Executive Director of the Goodman School of Mines and CEO and President of Morocco Mining Innovation. It's a pleasure to be here for the announcement of the newest intake of the OGIP program. While the spotlight today is on recipients, it's important to remember that every economic deposit begins with the fundamental understanding of the ground beneath our feet. Exploration, as we're hearing, is a high-risk, high-reward heartbeat of the mining life cycle. Without it, the pipeline of critical minerals, the very materials required for our green energy transition, our sovereignty, and our national defense simply will not keep up with demand. But exploration today isn't just about luck, it's about innovation. This is where the synergy between industry and Laurentian University becomes transformative. Through the Harkwell School of Earth Sciences and the Mineral Exploration Research Centre, projects like Metal Earth have already redefined geologic frameworks. As Canada's mining university, our new minerals and mining strategy ensures our research doesn't stay in the lab. We're focused on de-risking the search for critical minerals by putting new targeting methodologies directly into the hands of junior exploration companies. They are the pioneers who take our data and turn it into Ontario's next generation of mines. By supporting the junior sector through programs like OGIP, the province is fostering world-class innovation that's happening here in the north and being deployed in the field. Together, we're ensuring that Ontario remains the premier global destination for mineral discovery and ultimately building the mines, the workforce, and the leaders of the future. Merci, miigwech. Thank you.
Microphone, and as a reminder, the format will be one question and one follow-up. Please state your name and outlet when you approach the microphone.
All right.
Hi, it's Angela from CTV. First
there.
of all, I apologize that I was the late one. But I'm wondering in terms of a timeline from like how these projects work from when like a deposit might be found to when that those minerals might be not deposited.
Extracted, yeah.
Thank you, extracted and then gone to market.
For sure. First off, the Ontario Junior Exploration Program is something that has demonstrated that for every dollar we invest, we get a 2.5 time return. It shows that government needs to be part of the equation when it comes to reducing the risk and maximizing the benefit. As was I think very brilliantly described, we live in a vast northern frontier, and it's a balance of science and luck. And for prospectors and those on the frontier of discovery, they need to make sure that there are some government efforts, from permitting to funding, to reduce the risk. And we really believe in our miners. We believe in the supply chain. We believe in the North. And there's a reason why Premier Ford has really said, of all the industries, all the pillars that have stood this country really since our founding, our resources have been and they will always be central to our sovereignty and our prosperity. So the money we're putting in today, there's 3 different streams that could be accessed, but regardless of where these 68 odd projects may end up, the signal is today their government is standing behind them. And they have a much higher success rate of getting to the market. To your question, from exploration to extraction, that doesn't happen by accident. It requires a lot of capital. And so on the government side, putting dollars on the table helps at the front end. On the back end, we also recognize, having just had meetings with the Ontario Prospectors Association and mining leaders and civil society and others, we need to reduce the permit timelines as well. And part of today's announcement is a recognition that we can reduce the permits as we have done for the one project, one process, those that are designated. But for everyone else, they too want a faster system that gets to yes. So we're going to reduce the permit timelines, we're going to provide the funding, we're going to maintain the program, and we're going to keep leading the country in exploration. Over $1 billion of exploration funding in 2024 alone. And as you know, based on some of the reforms we've made, we've actually seen us, a bit of a hockey stick phenomena, going from 15th in the world to number 2, number 1 in Canada. So I think we're flexing our muscle, but there's a recognition to the question. We got to keep going, keep working, hunker down, keep the red tape, keep reducing red tape, and keep supporting the workforce. Because when so many sectors of the economy are tariff exposed, I think our minerals and our nuclear sector are one of the few areas where we're going to see net growth, thousands of more jobs. I mean, just the Ontario Mining Association and the Ontario and some of our energy associations are anticipating collectively we're going to need over 60, 70,000 more workers. I'm not talking about because of attrition, because some of the folks are leaving because they're retiring. I mean net new, because we are the scale of ambition of this government and our province. So, but with that, is there anyone behind us who would like to add anything to the question on sort of timelines? Do you want to come up? Yeah.
If you're incredibly lucky from finding a rock that leads to a deposit, it's incredibly lucky, 7 to 10 years. And the reality is 7 to 20 years from discovery to building something as remarkable as this and taking valuable minerals out of the ground, which is why it's really important that they invest now and that they invest in early stage exploration, because the amount of success you have is challenging. Although technology and all the new tools that are coming up are going to facilitate that, but it takes a long time. We've got a big earth.
Just to add a note to that question, I mean, yeah, there are certain components as you progress through the grassroots exploration phase, through brownfields, whatnot. There are certain regulatory requirements, as people in the industry are well aware of, and so that does affect those timelines. But yeah, historically, the timelines, as Danielle has already identified there. But one item that I would like to add to this is simply our current economic times. I think, especially during PDAC, the buzz and the word was all about how high the gold price is. Now, there's a reason for that. In these uncertain times, the gold price is going up. We have critical minerals as well. However, specifically about gold, you've got gold producers, yes. They are very busy doing what they do best, which is producing the gold. They are going to be running down the reserves. They will need more prospects, gold prospects, and this is true of any type of mineral extraction. When you use up your resources, where are you going to turn to next? The OJEP program is supporting the industry, is supporting the grassroots stage. finding those future deposits, those future resources to all of our benefit. So that's all I wanted to add to that. Thanks.
And just because we're in the business of building on each other at this point, just to wrap it up, I guess, it's, you know, in addition to the funding and the permitting, we need power. And the Ministry of Energy and Mines has sort of brought together both of these powerhouse responsibilities. And so I think about Red Lake, for example, a prolific, one of the most prolific gold regions on Earth. We're building a new transmission line, adding significant capacity of power into the region, yes, to support the next generation of mines, let alone the existing ones. We're thinking about 5, 10, 15 years down the road. I think about new transmission, Sudbury to Sault Ste. Marie, the new transmission line, this Barrie to Sudbury line. All of these are to unlock more power for the North. And of course, I have to speak about the new hydropower we're unlocking in Northern Ontario, the first time in a decade. Power for the North, in the North, that's going to be used for the resource economy in the North. And I think that's the beauty of our plan. It's co-locating generation, building transmission, and of course, cutting the red tape. Because as they said, it could take upwards of sometimes 15 years to open a mine in the province. And that's the OECD suggesting we were the second slowest. And we cut through the red tape and the noise. We didn't do what was easy, we did what was right for Canada. We brought forth a bill that radically reformed how government thinks, how they interface, how they work with the private sector, so that no longer when a person or investors are prepared to put their hard-earned money into a project, it doesn't sit on someone's desk for 12 years waiting for approvals, but we can give them certainty. Look, if they can do this in Western Australia, they can do this in the EU, then we can do it here in Canada. I'm not inspired by the speed of the Chinese, for example. But certainly amongst Western democracies, we cannot be the outlier. We have to challenge the status quo. That's what we've done. It's what we're going to keep doing together in partnership. And with that, I think we're done, Zach? Okay. Thank you all. Appreciate the opportunity, guys. Thank you.